I did yard work yesterday, including the barbecue. That's why my glasses were dirty. And there's something with raking leaves that just sets off my allergies like crazy. Like they don't bug me ever. And then I rake leaves and it's just like I sneeze for like 3 days after.
we I have not had to rake leaves in a decade.
Oh, really?
Yeah, since I bought this house. We have pine trees, so they don't lose a whole
Oh,
lot of leaves, and we have a grand total of one tree in my backyard that is like, it's not deciduous. What's the kind of, is it deciduous?
there's deciduous would be
Those are
what is
the
that?
kind.
It doesn't lose the leaves, right? Is that what deciduous means?
I can't remember. Don't listen, chat. I don't want to hear, oh, you're a science teacher. I'm a geologist, right? I don't know anything about plants.
Okay. Deciduous means it loses its leaves
Okay,
annually.
so I was right. We have one deciduous tree in the backyard, and it's so far back there that we just don't care.
And
So the leaves fall, and then I mow over them, so I don't have to worry about it.
the other one's easy to remember.
Yeah,
It's
evergreen, because it's always,
evergreen.
yeah.
It's like, of course it is. Why did I get that wrong? But
Anyway, hey everybody, people have
but
been,
Bill,
yeah.
you have to answer the question for me. Are you doing proper forest management and raking the bottom of the ground underneath the tree? Because you don't want fires because sometimes
Um,
trees just explode.
I will say that when we first moved into the house, whoever owned it before us didn't do it. Like, we've got like a row of four trees that separates our property from the farmland that is on the other side of it, because I
Hmm.
live in the rural area. And so I did go in there. Like, my dad brought his truck over, and I went in there with a chainsaw and I cleaned everything out, so it was super, like, you could actually see through it. It was not like a dense forest that you couldn't see between. And then, we hung a rope from one of the trees so that my son could swing on it and stuff like that.
Mm,
So yes, I do keep it nice and clean,
well, that's
but
good.
mostly so that we don't get super, like, it cuts down on the bugs. Like, whenever I kind of get lax about cleaning that area back there, we get way more mosquitoes and stuff. I don't know
Mm.
why, but
Well, you
that's just
you
what
kind of live in
happens.
the middle of nowhere ish.
Oh yeah.
Like we have like neighbors close to on each side of our house, and our tree loses its leaves really fast, but the leaves kind of like shrivel up into like little balls, kind of like they're not like broadleaf type trees. The neighbors on both sides have big trees. They lose their leaves super late and they always blow onto our yard. Like it doesn't matter. It's like there could be wind blowing one way, but we'll get leaves from both trees on our yard. It's like this weird I don't know I don't know tornado effect or something that is happening because of the shape of our street or something. I don't know what it is. So we generally have to rake multiple times even though our tree is done and there's no more leaves. But yeah, thankfully that's what you have kids for, right?
I guess I wouldn't know, because we don't have to rake.
Hmm.
I don't let my kids mow the lawn though. Like, I mow the lawn. I get
Yeah.
on the lawnmower and I get out there and I mow the lawn, and nobody can talk to me for.
I've
I,
well, that's good. I used to mow the lawn with like headphones on, and it was fantastic, just a way to kind of escape from the world. But I haven't mowed the lawn in 3 years because we generally mow the lawn on the weekend, and I'll be podcasting now on Saturday and Sundays. So Kara goes out with the kids, and they do all the yard work, and then I come upstairs after podcasting and everything's done, and I feel guilty for about 3 seconds, and then I'm like, yay, don't have to mow the lawn.
all right. Quickly tell somebody about your cats, and then we're gonna get started.
We had our first cat escape from the house since we got them. I was picking up a delivery from the side of the house, and I had the side door closed. We have a screen door and a normal door, so I had the screen door closed. I go and I open up the screen door. I see the cat in the kitchen, so about 6 feet away from where I am, and he bolted and he got out the door before I could close the door. And then he's like running one way and then running the other way, and he's just like freaked out, looking everywhere. And then everybody's out of the house chasing him, and he didn't run very far, thankfully, and we got him before he left the yard. But I punched the side of the house because I was like kind of flailing, so I have like a bunch of skin missing on my knuckles because we have stucco on the side of our house.
Oh, okay.
So I did like the cheese grater thing on 3 of my fingers. So that was not fun. But he's fine now, and he's not freaked out anymore.
Flailing, like,
Yeah.
were you running around like, "Rah!" like
No,
that, or
what
were you
happened-
like mad?
What happened is I was right by the side of the house, and I bent down to pick him up, and then he ran between my legs, and then I kind of spun to see where he was going, and I just caught the edge of the
okay.
house with my
All right.
fingers. And so it's these 3 fingers, and it's just like no skin, just a little bit of an abrasion. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's not good. Kumna, why aren't they allowed out? Because they're house cats, not go eat all the birds in the neighborhood cats.
Yeah, we don't let my cats out of the house either because we live on, like, the speed limit on my road is 55 miles per hour. So that's like somewhere close to 100 for kilometers, people. If the kids or if the cats got out, they would go into the road and be flat cats. So they are inside cats only because we don't want them to be dead.
Yep, the exact same way. The cat that got out was Tank, and he was a stray that was living outside. And when we adopted him, he had the pads of his feet. There was basically missing skin there, so I don't know if he walked on fresh asphalt or something because there was some black stuff on his fur. He had some other issues as well from being an outdoors cat that was an indoors cat. So it's not something that I ever want to do. I don't want my cats roaming the neighborhood and not coming home one day.
Right. Real quick, just a reminder for both of us that David Rodriguez wants pictures of our cats so that he can draw something possibly. I don't know. And I keep forgetting. So David, we'll get that back to you at some time in the nearest future that we can.
I'm pretty sure that if you look on my Instagram, that's the only thing that's on my Instagram from the last little bit. So just look for Dasmy WPG on Instagram, and you'll see both my cats, because that's all I've been posting for a very long time.
All right, let's get ready to record the show real quick. We want to thank Jean-Francis Chef, GRS UK, Dr. Spaceman for becoming members. We want to thank Melvin Rose for a super chat that came in yesterday. I think actually that was when I was live, so I already thanked him for that. And then Consino, right in the middle of our cat stories or grill stories or tree stories, whatever it was that we were blathering on about at the beginning of the show. He sent in a super chat as well with no message. So we just wanted to thank those of you that are supporting us. You guys are absolutely fantastic, and we do really, really appreciate it. Yep. Are you ready to start the show, Lloyd?
Yeah, let's get this one in the bag, man.
All right, here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Stadia Cast. I'm Bill. That's Lloyd. What's going on, Lloyd?
Not much, Bill. Nice to talk to you again. Nice to see everybody that's in our chats. A lot of people talking already. People are excited about something, Bill. I wonder what that could be.
I have no idea. We'll figure that out together.
Okay.
It'll be a little journey today. Before we get started, though, you mentioned the live chat. We do record the show live every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. If you're listening to the podcast, then you can find it over at youtube.com/StadiaCast. If you are already watching this, then just make sure that you click all of the buttons that people ask you to click, because then you'll get notified next time that we go live. If you want to support the show, like many others have done before, we really do appreciate it. You can do so by clicking on the super chat button. If you're here with us live, we read each and every comment at the second part of the show, which we call crowd play. Now, there's a good chance that we're like, that might not make it into the show, but we will respond to everything after the show 100%, just because we've got a lot of news to talk about today. If you're watching us after the fact, there's a couple of weird ways that you can support. You can click on the join button, that's a normal way to support. But then there's this new applause button that I don't understand. I don't understand why anybody would use it personally. Like, I don't
Right.
understand that, because it doesn't tell us who you are, but we've already had people use it.
Mhm.
And for those of you that have, thank you. You're awesome. Thank you for supporting us. It's obvious to me that they just want to support the show by clicking on the applause button. But it doesn't tell us who you are, so we can't thank you. So whoever you are, thank you. We do appreciate it. Are you ready to talk about some Stadia news, Lloyd?
Yeah, I think we might be able to scrape together a show. We'll look into the deep corners of the internet to find any sort of Stadia news, because it's been just there's no news lately, man. It's just been so crazy.
Well, speaking of no news, if there were no news, we would definitely talk about what we've been playing, and I'm sure that people want to know what we have been playing. But
Mhm.
let's keep it quick, right?
Okay.
So I'll go real quick. I've been playing a bunch of Baldur's Gate 3. The game is amazing. It is probably going to be my favorite game this year. I've had so much fun with it. Crazy things have happened, and I can't wait until it's not a super buggy mess, but it's also really awesome. Like yesterday, I was playing, and I was doing a live stream, and I killed a gnoll, and then the ragdoll physics started freaking out, and it kept tumbling and tumbling, and then by the time it stopped and froze, it was this horrifying um its body had completely changed. Like, its head was 15 feet away from its arm and things like that. It was hideous, but it was hilarious at the same time. So I'm waiting for that game to get fixed, but it's awesome and I can't stop playing it. And I also got to play some Cake Bash. Have you played Cake Bash yet, Lloyd?
I've played one match of Cake Bash, and I love it. I really do. It is super cute, super awesome. A game that I am a huge fan of. But it makes me want to own 4 Stadia controllers so that I can have myself, my wife, and my 2 kids playing at the same time, because it's just crazy, wacky fun, and it definitely needs like to be played local multiplayer with everybody on the couch shouting at each other.
Yeah, I've played a couple of matches online. I wanted to see what the game was like, and obviously they gave us the review codes early, but you couldn't play it online against people because like so few people had access to it.
Right.
So I did like I played against some bots and recorded a best visual quality thing to put up on the channel, but like I didn't really get to enjoy it because I was playing against bots, and that's not a fun experience. So then the next day when it was actually out, I sat down and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to try playing." And it was funny. I started it up and I got matched up against somebody named Eddie, and I was like, "Oh, I wonder if that's Eddie Player 1. He's another content creator." So I loaded up, I grabbed my iPad and I loaded up his YouTube channel, and sure enough, I was sitting there in the lobby with him. So,
That's great.
but then because there were people watching, um, like we were able to fill the game real fast and play, and it was really fun. It's kind of like Mario Party without the board game part, just the
Right.
just the mini game part, and I really liked it. But then I tried playing yesterday, I couldn't get a match, and I was like, well, this
Oh,
is this is not good, and this is not a Stadia problem, this because this game has crossplay with PC, but it
it
feels like
does.
not enough people have picked this game up yet for us to find matches quickly and easily, unless we're like doing a stream or something like that, which that's
Hmm.
too bad. But you know what, you make a good use case scenario. Pick up 4 controllers and play it locally.
Yeah.
Right now we only have 2 controllers at my house, so that's not an option, but maybe in the future. I think that the game definitely has potential, and it looks really nice, and it plays really well, and it's very fun. Just needs to have a bigger audience, I think.
Yeah, I think so. It reminds me a lot of like Fall Guys, where you have like just groups of people taking on a bunch of different mini games. Like the animation, the stupid like stick figure arms and faces, they just look so funny. Like I laugh all the time, and then you get like little trays of cakes come on and fall down in some of the stages, and they're not out of the little containers that they're in, so they're always sad and they're looking around and they just look like, please let me out. I want to take part in the action that's going on. The game just exudes charm, and yeah, I'm a huge fan of Cake Bash, but I need to get some more controllers. Or what I need to do, segue, is I need to pair some other controllers that aren't Stadia controllers onto my Chromecast, my Sabrina Chromecast with Google TV, that came in the middle of this week. Once Stadia is supported properly on it, of course, because I think that would be a really cheap way for me to do it, because I already own this guy and I have the nice little remote and all this stuff. I've been playing around with this for a little while. I have I have other streaming services working on it. I don't have Stadia working on it because you need to like have a mouse to click a button, which I don't have. I didn't buy a USB-C hub. I have to do that. But what I have to say about the Chromecast with Google TV is, if you're looking for a set-top box that isn't a set-top box, this is probably the most snappy and user-friendly user interface that I've ever used. I've used an old school Google TV, Fire Sticks, Apple TV, a bunch of the Roku stuff that's built into televisions. The interface for the Sabrina Chromecast with Google TV is so fast, so snappy, and it just makes sense. And the fact that you can just hold down the button, say a movie, and it gives you all of the options that you have based on what you've logged in. It's great. It really works really good. Some people in the chat room are saying you can sideload some things. I sideloaded the Stadia app. I sideloaded Chrome, and it just wasn't working for me for whatever reason. I have to do some more reading into it and figure it out. Of course, I could just wait until sometime in 2021 when the official support comes out, but that's not the way I roll usually. So I'll probably keep messing around with it to get this thing installed with a working Stadia app. But yeah, this Chromecast is fantastic, and the fact that it has a remote solves one of my problems with Chromecast when it first came out. Is I want to have a user interface. I know a lot of people don't. They like using their phone. I hate that. So just being able to like flip over to YouTube, seeing YouTube videos show up in my recommendations is fantastic. And it takes a step further than like my Apple TVs and my other streaming boxes that I've used that just do recommendations based on like your Netflix or your Amazon Prime. This has recommendations based on everything. I really dig it. Really great device, and super darn cheap compared to a lot of the other options on the market, especially considering how functional this device is.
Yeah, I definitely want to pick one up. They're only $50. I was holding off, but after hearing you talk about it, I don't know that I can. I might need to buy that thing and check it out because it seems really cool. Now, is that little circle on the remote? How does that work? Is that like a iPod, whatever, or is it just buttons?
It's not like the little shuttle controller that you had on an iPod. It's just a clicky thing. So it's like a D-pad without having the cross on it. It's just
okay.
It's a D-pad with a action button in the middle. So it's actually really useful. There's even games that you can play with just this thing. There's like Crossy Road and things like that. So it is functional. The funny thing is the remote was working perfectly for me. I had zero issues with the remote. And then I noticed there's a firmware update available for the remote. I installed the firmware update, and now half the time the button presses aren't working. So I have to see if there's maybe some way that I can revert that or reset my remote or whatever. But yeah, I dig it. It has like a YouTube button and a Netflix button. I believe you can remap those to do whatever you want. So if you don't use YouTube or Netflix, it is a really great device. And the fact that it comes with a remote is good for me because I like having actual user interfaces that I can go through.
Well, all right. Speaking of things that you watch, Stadia, we're going to segue into the news now. Stadia has finally got their advertising pants on the right way. They've got their shoes on the right feet, and they are nailing it, in my opinion, with these new ads that they have coming out. I believe we talked about one last week, right?
You did we? Oh
I
yeah, we did.
yeah,
Yeah, it's this is Stadia or whatever the, the
right. It
the
was
the title of that video was.
right, and now and then they brought out a new one,
Hmm.
which is called "You Have What It Takes," and this
Oh,
thing is fantastic.
yeah.
Why don't you tell people what your reaction is to this to this ad?
Well, we've been shouting from the rooftops that Google needs to basically say what Stadia is without getting into the nitty gritty of like kind of the nerdy specs that no one cares about. Well, we care about the super fans, the computer geniuses care about that, but a general user that is like, well, why do I want to pick up Stadia? I don't have a 4K TV. I don't need to know about all this 4K garbage that keeps flipping up on the screen. But this video shows what you can do, the fact that you can play it on your laptop, the fact you can play it on your TV, that you can play it on your phone if you have the nice little clip on your Stadia controller. It shows people playing Cyberpunk. It shows people playing a Baldur's Gate. It shows people playing Immortals Phoenix Rising. It shows multiplayer gaming. It shows diverse selections of people, diverse selections of games. This is as much of a home run as I've ever seen in advertising in the game space compared to what they were doing before, which was very like black and white square boxes. Don't go outside the boxes. There's no gray area. Everything's black and white. They've changed that, and they've made they've made Stadia interesting to people that maybe weren't interested in it before. I'm a huge fan of this new advertising campaign, and I think if Stadia really wants to take on the big boys, which is PlayStation and Xbox, because they've been in the industry for 10 plus years, this is the type of ad that's going to sway some people towards them. So I'm a huge fan.
I am absolutely a huge fan of this as well. I think that they have done uh, an amazing job. I don't know if what they have decided was that they switched whoever was in charge of advertising, or if they just said, "Well, we tried this one thing and it didn't work. Let's do things
Yeah,
differently." But this feels like night and day from what they
yeah,
were showing before. The things that they were showing before felt like Geico commercials without the charm. Like
yeah.
it's funny. We were I was looking at a TV. My wife recently back in March, my wife lost her job due to COVID. She just got a job on Friday, so we were celebrating. We went to my daughter's restaurant where she works, which is it's outdoor eating, and they had a TV, and
Mhm.
I was sitting there, and I was looking over the head of my niece at the TV behind her, and I was looking at it, and she goes, "What are you looking at?" Because my face was making this weird. I was like, "What the hell am I seeing?" And I was like, "I don't know." And then the commercial ended, and it said Geico, and I said, "Oh, okay."
Yeah,
So it was like one of those commercials, but with
yeah.
no charm to it.
I-
And I couldn't put my finger on what I hated about it. Um,
mm,
but the one thing that I didn't like was that it didn't tell you any useful information about Stadia. And no, like, I still have people say, "What's Stadia?" You know what I mean?
yeah, they definitely had a different idea of how to do advertising. They wanted to do kind of like the cringy, awkward, like kind of shocking stuff that say like an Old Spice does, where they just have like crazy things happening on screen, and that's great. That definitely appeals to a younger crowd, and that's kind of what Stadia was looking for, but it didn't put the information over in the right way. What they're saying now is you don't need to pay any money. The console's free. You buy the game, you can play it on any device that you own. But if you want the best experience, you buy this pack that comes with a controller and comes with a Chromecast, and then you can play it on your TV. That's exactly what we said for forever. And other people said we're not claiming that we've
Yeah,
solved
lots of
the
people.
the advertising problem. Most of the content creators and the Uber fans were saying that this is something that you need to do. You need to stop focusing on 4K 60, stop focusing on pro, and just say, hey, we're a game store. we're a free console in the cloud. You can buy a game, you can play it. You don't have to buy a $500 box. And that's basically what these new ads have been doing, which is absolutely fantastic. They knocked it out of the park for both of these ads.
Now, there's some people in the community, like Sir Taco Bell in our live chat, who he says, I think that they are revamping their advertisements due to next gen consoles, holidays coming, and they do have a lot of games and features coming. So first off, the last part of that I agree with, because they've got more games now, so it's easier to talk about the fact that they've got games.
Right.
They're starting to expand their features, so it's easier to talk about that stuff. When you don't want to talk about that stuff when it's not there. But the fact that, like, the part that he's saying that this is a response to anything like, new announcements of like the PS5 or the Xbox Series X or Amazon Luna or anything, I just don't agree with, because I feel like when you're talking about a company like Google, they're a huge company, and they do everything as fast as they possibly can, which, when you're a huge company, you don't do things fast. You do things slowly, because there's a lot of bureaucracy that you have to go through. There's a lot of people who have to say, yes, this is an okay change to make before you can start turning. And so it takes a long time for a ship to turn around if it's a huge ship. Whereas a little tiny speedboat, they can change direction really quickly. So I don't think that this is necessarily in response to anything. I think it's just timing makes it seem like that. I think that this is probably something that they had planned to do, I don't want to say all along, but it's been a year since those first super weird advertisements. Maybe it was more than that. Do you think it was more than that? More than a year?
No, I think they came out right around launch.
Okay.
I think I gotta remember back in time. I don't remember what I had for breakfast, and that was like an hour ago. So, yeah, I don't think that these ads were cooked up in the lab in the last week because of Luna or anything like that. But what I think Google was, okay, we need to start marketing what we are. We're going to be competing with new consoles that are going to be bigger, better, faster, and have more Ks than what people think we have. We got to put out these videos around that time to combat that. So they probably started working on these in the summer. Went through a couple iterations, probably had a bunch of different organizations working on ads, like just ad ideas, and then they chose the way they wanted to go. They made them, they did all the great videos, they spliced in all the new games that haven't been announced yet, like that weird Pac-Man looking thing that was in one of these videos. But we don't know what that game is, but it looks like Pac-Man with weird graphics, which I love. I want to play that game, so I don't know what it is, but I want to play it. But they worked on all this stuff, and then they released it just before the release of the next gen consoles. So I think the timing was based on the next gen consoles, but it wasn't saying, oh my god, we're going to lose because of Xbox and PlayStation, we got to put out some stuff right away. This has been the plan all along, and they're fantastic. Like, these ads, they check all the boxes that we said these ads need to do, the things that these ads need to do, rather. And I think they're gonna, if they keep putting these types of ads out, make a 30-second ad, put it on your Prime Video and your Hulu and other streaming services, put it up on YouTube, put it on TV. I think they're going to get a lot of people saying, oh, I heard Stadia, and I thought you had to pay a monthly fee to play it and buy my games. This is different. Let's look into it. And especially with what we're going to be talking about next, with the good stuff, where you can play a demo of a game without having a Stadia account. They can put up these ads on YouTube saying, hey, you just saw 30 seconds or 5 seconds of Phoenix Rising. Do you want to see more? Click here now. And you click the button, log into your Gmail account, and boom, you're playing Immortals Phoenix Rising. I think YouTube's in the best place of any of the cloud companies to have people try their service, because Google owns the bulk of internet streaming. People go watch stuff on YouTube. They just need to start blanketing these Stadia ads and get people clicking the button and playing. And they could have a lot of new Stadia converts in a very short time.
Absolutely. Well, you made the transition. Let's go ahead and move into the good stuff. It's terrible that we have all of this stuff to talk about, because we can't really drill down onto any one topic too far. But like, they just, Like, they brought out that ad, and Lloyd and I were messaging each other, and we're like, wow, that was pretty good. Oh, what do you think of this? You know, we had a conversation about it. And then they brought out this information, which is, I think that this is even better. They sent out this tweet, and they said, good stuff is coming. We'll be lighting up your week with 3 days of announcements, reveals, and other surprises. And if that wasn't enough, we'll have 3 games you can try right away. It all starts October 20th at 9 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Central European time. So I already posted a video, like my reaction to this. My reaction was, calm down, everybody. We don't know what's coming, but don't make predictions and then be mad when Google doesn't meet your prediction. That's basically, now you don't have to watch that video because I just summed it up. But go watch the video anyway. But good stuff, October 20th to 22nd. Knowing what we know after that, it's kind of crazy, because I thought, all right, well, they're going to not say anything between the 20th and the 22nd, and now we know that that's not true. So we'll talk about that other stuff in a second. What's your initial reaction for the good stuff, Lloyd?
I excited, obviously. 3 days of announcements. They don't say what this is. It's just going to be like a blog post a day. Is it going to be a live stream? Is it going to be a video that they create in a lab and release every day? We don't really know what it is, which I think is part of the excitement. This is new from Stadia, having an event like this, or an event in air quotes like this. So I'm just eager to see what this is. Is this going to be Google's version of, say, a Nintendo Direct, or a state of play type thing? Or is it just going to be, here's a great game announcement, we're getting Super Mario 64 is coming to Stadia, boom, here's a press release. And if that's it, that's still going to be exciting. I'm saying Super Mario 64 because I said that in a video, and then we got a bunch of comments from it, which was funny, because obviously I was saying a game that could never ever be on Stadia. So I'm not saying that Google bought Nintendo when I say that, people. But we don't know, and it's going to be exciting to figure out what this good stuff thing is, and if it's good, if it's enjoyable. Hopefully they do more of these and just have these events that we know we're going to get announcements of for multiple days in a week, which is better than like the normal Tuesday drop that they do.
Yeah. So when I look at this, like, my brain said, oh, I wonder if it's this, I wonder if it's that, I wonder if this is going to happen. But I'm not going to say any of those things out loud, because people know that sometimes we talk to Google. Now, I'm going to tell you straight up, everybody, I have not spoken to Google about this. I did send them an email saying, hey, this seems interesting. It would be amazing if you could tell us ahead of time what was happening so that we could prep a video for it. But of course, we would, not break any NDAs or anything. And they just did not reply. Okay, so so I don't know what's going to happen. So any prediction that I make is just as good as any prediction that you at home would make. I don't know what the hell is going to happen. I've seen people predicting that we would be able to demo Cyberpunk 2077, Immortals Phoenix Rising. I've seen people predict that we'd be playing that Pac-Man game, which looks like a battle royale to me, which sounds incredibly cool. So sure. I'm very interested in whatever that Pac-Man game. People have been guessing that it would be Call of Duty, or, there's a million games out there that people are predicting that we're going to be playing, and I have no idea what any of them are. What I hope that these games are, this is not a prediction, this is what I'm hoping for, is something that can't be played on any other platform. Not because I want it to be an exclusive to Stadia, but because I want it to use the features of cloud gaming, the features that would not be possible on having a box under your TV. That's the kind of thing that I want to have. I want to see that as a demo, where when people turn it on and they try it, they say, oh, I understand cloud gaming now. Because while all of the things you said before about that ad, about It's on every screen that you have, almost. And you don't have to spend money on the console in order to play the game. That's all awesome. And that's what sells Stadia to, I think, the vast majority of people out there who are tangentially interested in video games, like not super hardcore, but that's not going to sell anything to the hardcore people. What's going to sell something to the hardcore people is something that can't be done anywhere else. Not because Google walked up to somebody and said, "Here is a bag of money, publish a game only on our platform." That's boring. That's not fun. What's fun is when they say, "This can only be done because we have a data center as your console," and that is exciting to me. So that's what I'm hoping for. And I'm fully prepared to be disappointed by that, but I'm not going to scream at the rooftops if I am.
That's fair. I mean, you're that guy. You're the let's temper expectations guy. I'm the let's think of some big things that could happen, knowing full well that they're probably not going to happen. And a couple of my predictions actually released in videos. Well, one released in a blog post, the other one was in a video that wasn't from Stadia. So I'm like, oh, okay, well that was kind of right, but there was two huge chunks of news that came out before good stuff. But the thing that that makes me wonder what good stuff is going to be is that you have developers that are coming out and saying, "I've seen the good stuff and it is good stuff." And this is from like Splash Damage tweeted this out, the developer of the upcoming game Outcasters. So these developers have seen this. Developers normally don't see other people's games that are in development that are secret. So you don't have Splash Damage see what the next big EA exclusive is. You don't have Splash Damage see the next big thing from Rockstar. You have them seeing other features of Stadia. So this makes me wonder if they're going to show off ray tracing, show off the faster hardware that is going to show that Stadia is going to be just as performant as Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. That would be good stuff for me, knowing that newer games coming out are going to look just as good as the next gen consoles that are coming out, or the current gen consoles. I guess in about a month they'll be current gen consoles. So my hope is that we're going to see some more hardware and software features, but we'll see what happens, I guess. But we'll get into the other announcements once we get there.
Yeah, very, very shortly. William Millard in chat says, so Outcasters demo? Outcasters has specifically said that they are not part of the good stuff. So whenever they tweeted that they were not talking about their own stuff. They were talking about other stuff, which is very, very interesting to me. So listen, just so everybody's aware, the good stuff, again, that's 3 days. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I don't know if it's the same time every day, but the first thing is at 9 a.m. Pacific time on Tuesday. Yep. I work until 3 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday. I'm going to come home from work and do an open mic right then. There is a link in our show notes, which you can, I'm going to drop the show notes into chat right now. There's a link in the show notes, which will take you there so that you can set a little reminder so that we can talk about whatever it is that they're showing off on Tuesday. And I'll probably do the same thing on Wednesday and Thursday, but I'm not sure yet. It all depends on what's going on for the rest of the week. I clear my schedule with my wife. Let's move on to all right. So they said the good stuff, right? And then they made up a bunch of announcements, and I'm like, if they're talking about this now,
if they're getting this out of the way,
stuff, what the hell do they have planned? So we're going to talk about that in just a second. But first, we're going to take a quick break. Come back, everybody. All right. I'm going to hit record again. And we are back. Thank you very much for listening. Listen, Lloyd, Google announced the good stuff. And then they announced a bunch of stuff that could have easily been rolled into the good stuff. So that took my excitement level for the good stuff and pushed it up a little bit, just a little bit. So what is it that they announced?
Well,
Go ahead.
the first one wasn't a Google announcement. So you have your Cyberpunk 2077. They do regular kind of like video, um, I don't know, events where they show off a new feature or some story content or things like that. So they did one this past week where they were showing off kind of how they're doing audio capture, and they're capturing old vehicles. They have like a pile of microphones on this vehicle as it's on a dyno and revving the engine and things like that, and that's cool. And I'm like, oh, that's really neat. Then you had Keanu come out in his breathtaking self and talking about a custom motorcycle for the motorcycle company that I think is a part owner in, and there is a custom Cyberpunk 2077 motorcycle that they made, which is actually in the game. And I'm like, this is fantastic. I love this. And then they had kind of a one more thing at the end. They had the host. I'm blanking on what her name is. Came out and said, yeah, so we announced that Cyberpunk is coming to Stadia, but it was going to be coming after all the other versions. Cyberpunk launches November 19th on every console, now including Stadia, and we're going to be releasing on day and date, and you'll be able to play it instantly the second it's available. And all of a sudden my head just exploded, because this came a week before the good stuff. They're giving us amazing stuff right before they give us good stuff, and that blew me away. And then right after this happened, Google tweeted that, yeah, we have a custom Cyberpunk 2077 page. So I think it's stadia.google.com/games/Cyberpunk 2077. It takes you to kind of a landing page all about Cyberpunk, about what you can do. It's available for pre-order right now. Just out of the blue, boom, here you go. Here's 2077. You're not going to have to wait for it. Just totally melted my brain. And I am so very excited for this game, as I was. But now I know I don't have to decide to play it on for me, a lesser system, because I prefer to play on Stadia right now. But I can also play on launch day. I don't have to make that decision anymore. The decision was made for me. Thank you, Google.
Yeah, like if we were to say, let's go back 6 months and ask our six months ago selves, Bill, what game are you most excited for this year? For me, Baldur's Gate 3. If we were to ask Lloyd, what game are you most excited for this year? I think it was this one, right?
Yeah, this is the one that I'm most looking forward to, because I know the least about it. I want to know what that world is going to be all about. So I'm very excited for this one.
Now, of course, there are going to be people who are saying, all right, this is the reason for the delay. And maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. There's no way that we are ever going to know. My gut tells me that they had that CD Projekt Red had to delay the game. Sorry, I couldn't talk. They had to delay the game because it wasn't going to be ready. So they delayed it. They delayed the game to make sure that it was ready. And my guess is they were just playing it safe. They were playing it safe and saying, "Look, it's another platform, and we're gonna port to it, but I don't know if we can hit our target. So we're just gonna say later this year." But then they were able to hit the target. I don't know. Maybe Google said, "You know what? Let's send 500 engineers." To CD Projekt Red and help them with this. Maybe that's what happened, or maybe they were just able to work on to get the Stadia version working faster than they thought they could. Whatever the reason, we're now going to be able to play this game on launch day, and I know that there's a lot of people who are very, very excited. This is, for me, this is not the game of the year. I mean, maybe it will turn out to be, but for me, the one that I was anticipating most was Baldur's Gate 3. But for a vast majority of people, this is the game that people have been waiting for all year long. Ever since Keanu came out on the stage at E3 last year and said, "You're breathtaking." Like, people have been really, really hyped for this because they were huge fans of The Witcher. And they like the way that CD Projekt Red does things, and they wanted to support them. And they love the idea of this crazy world of Night City, where you can go and do what seems like whatever the hell you want, which is very, very interesting. So I think that this was huge news, and I can't believe that this wasn't like held off until until the good stuff.
It blows me away, especially considering the partnership that Google has with CD Projekt Red by creating this custom landing page with all these other things. The fact that Cyberpunk is coming out on Stadia's anniversary, its 1 year birthday, is pretty big as well. And like you said, like I wonder what happened to make this work. Either Google did nothing and CD Projekt Red was able to just get it working because they're amazing developers. Google threw a bunch of engineers to them to help them with problems, or Google did something else to the back end to make the game work. Maybe they're having problems with some of the Vulkan stuff, or some of the way that the processing happens with like different threading, like some other like uber geeky developer stuff. Maybe CD Projekt Red was having problems with it, and Google said, you know what, we can fix that. Or, as I said earlier, maybe they have access to hardware that maybe other developers don't yet. Like, we don't know, and we will find out at some point. We'll know on November 19th kind of what the game looks like. But for this to happen, this is huge news. This is like probably one of the best news items for Stadia, because you're now seeing all these websites that come out with negative sounding articles about Stadia are now talking good about Stadia, all because of Cyberpunk. And this isn't even part of good stuff. It just blows my mind.
Yeah. Speaking of other things that are not part of good stuff, afterwards, Google made another post. Like, I expected it to be crickets, you know, like, hey everybody, here's our new ad, and then a couple days later, hey everybody, we're gonna show you some good stuff. And then I expected radio silence until Tuesday.
Yep.
And that is not what happened. Why don't you tell everybody what happened?
Well, just randomly out of the blue, and not on a normal day that Google comes out with PR. They usually do like the Tuesday thing. They put out a blog post. They just came out with a community blog post saying more Ubisoft games are on the way, and here they are. Watch Dogs Legion, we knew about. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, we knew about. Far Cry 6, we knew about. But here's Assassin's Creed Origins, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Far Cry 5, Watch Dogs 2, Assassin's Creed Unity, Ghost Recon Wildlands, which we knew about, and Far Cry New Dawn. All these new games that are coming to Stadia. Some of them are already announced, but now we're going to be able to play a pile of Assassin's Creeds, a pile of Far Cry, a pile of other Ubisoft games. And this is also not part of good stuff. This big collection of games makes me think that we must be really close to announcement of Uplay Plus. So maybe Uplay Plus is going to be one of the good stuff announcements, or maybe some of these games are going to be part of the 3 demos that are going to be available to play next week starting on Tuesday. We don't know, but something had to be done to get this news out of the way, whether it's because this pales in comparison or that this is part of what is going to be coming next week. We don't know. But just seeing this amount of news come out in 1 week from Google is super, super exciting for me, being a huge Stadia fan, someone that wants to play all future games on this platform. This makes me really, really excited.
So Assassin's Creed Valhalla, what's the release date for that? Do you know off the top of your head?
It's November 10th. Actually, I think it's in the blog post. Let me scroll down. Yeah, November 10th.
All right.
November 10th.
So it makes a lot of sense to me that and again, no inside information here, but it makes a lot of sense to me that is one of the demo games. Like, we have seen such a great partnership between Ubisoft and Stadia so far. And sure. I recently saw a video somebody had posted in our community Discord, link in the description down below. Like this video of somebody playing a demo of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and they were like, oh, the button prompt for, I don't know, like the menu or something is something that is only on the Stadia controller, so maybe he's playing on Stadia. I don't know. It seemed like you were about to say something.
Well, in Watch Dogs Legions comes out on October 29th. You have Valhalla comes out November 10th, and then you have Immortals Phoenix Rising comes out in December. I think it's December 3rd. I'm off the top of my head. I'm not positive if that's what it is. So we have an October, November, and December Ubisoft game that is coming to Stadia. Maybe those will be the 3 demos, or maybe that'll be all part of one demo event, and there'll be some games from other companies.
Yeah. Anyway, we don't know. I've never played, like, I'm scrolling through this list. I have not played any of these games. None. Zero. Zilch. I have never played any of these games. So this is awesome for me. And I know that there's going to be people who are like, whoa, look at these. There's a bunch of old games. hey, if it's new to me, then it's new to me. What do you care if it's new to you? You know,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
don't buy it again. I don't understand
Exactly.
that mentality.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that this is cool, and I might. I don't know if I were to check out just one of these games, Lloyd, and
Mhm.
chat, feel free to let us know in chat as well. If I were to check out just one of these games, outside of Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Watch Dogs Legions, because those are both, and Far Cry 6, because those are all new. But
Sure.
one of these old games, which one would you tell me that I had to?
Far Cry 5. Far Cry 5 is a fantastic game, and it's also a game that is very timely considering what's going on down below the border here in Canada. When I was playing through that game, I saw a lot of parallels with a lot of the stuff that was happening in the real world. So Far Cry 5 would be one that you definitely have to play. It is fantastic. But then Far Cry New Dawn is kind of a mini game. Like it's a smaller release that kind of plays in the world of Far Cry 5. It's not a sequel, but it's kind of like it's just a game that takes place in that world after the events of what happened at the end of that game. So both of those games are kind of related together, and you should definitely pick up and play Far Cry 5, or potentially wait for Ubisoft Plus. You won't have to pick up any of them. You can just play all of them and not have to worry about it.
Possibly. My limiting factor is mostly time because I've got so many. Like, I've got Baldur's Gate 3. We're about to have Cyberpunk. Like, I've got all of these huge games. Listen, video game makers, make some short games, will you? Can you just make some short games so I can actually finish one for once in my life? That would be absolutely amazing. Games are too long, but maybe that's just on me. You
Yeah.
mentioned earlier one of the things that we might, again, no inside knowledge. One of the things that we might get from the good stuff is you said maybe it would be ray tracing or something like that, and
Mhm.
there's a tweet related to that which I found to be very, very interesting. They somebody had tweeted out, this is oh shoot, I clicked the wrong button and now I can't find it. Who makes Chorus? Do you remember?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Oh, I can't remember the name of the company. No, it's not Deep Silver. I can't remember the name of the company that makes it.
Well,
But
whoever
yeah.
makes it, they tweeted out, "Hey, we've been testing and exploring ray tracing, and we're working hard at bringing graphical improvements to the next level. Chorus is becoming a visual delight." And then Seven, who I actually recognize, Seven, he's often in chat. He
Mhm.
said, "Thanks for the reply. That's great to hear. Will Chorus support ray tracing on Stadia too?" To which, and it is Deep Silver. You were right
It
about
is Deep
that.
Silver.
They replied, "See my previous answer," um, and then a little winky face. So it seems like Chorus developers, Deep Silver, they may also have access to this aforementioned next gen hardware that can do ray tracing. What do you think about that reply? Do you think that Deep Silver was just? Do you think that they made a mistake by saying, "Look at my last answer," or do you think that they aren't? They're not really committing.
Well, I think they're being very clear about the fact that on Stadia there's going to be ray tracing in Chorus, or at least they're messing around with it.
Right.
So maybe what that means is that the NDA for Stadia 2.0 Blades, whatever Google's going to call it, whether it's just rolling out new hardware, or if there's going to be a code name, or if there's going to be something, maybe the NDA is done because this is what the announcement next week is going to be. Maybe, who knows? Or it could just be a developer just having some fun on Twitter. It could really
Yeah.
go either way.
It absolutely can. So look, we've got the good stuff, and then we had the Cyberpunk news, and then we have the Ubisoft news. And somebody tweeted at Google. They said, "Damn, this is good news. We're not even to the good stuff event yet." And then Stadia replied, "The good news is just getting rolling."
Yeah,
I mean, okay, Google.
it's exciting, man. But we could just be blowing everything out of proportion, which I mean is possible. But I don't know, man. This seems like this is like Google Stadia has been in beta, and this is it coming out of beta. Obviously, Stadia isn't in beta, but that's what it feels to me. It's like, okay, we're just going to show you this thing. We're going to slowly roll out features. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, media blitz, PR blitz, game blitz, partnership blitz. It just seems like this is Google loading their all their chambers and then hitting the trigger to fire on all of them at once. It's really, really exciting.
It is. But, Jem said in chat, we can all agree that Stadia Social Team is making the good stuff a big deal too, right? Yes, they absolutely are, which
Yeah.
can either be a really good thing or, oh my God, another really bad thing. Like I've seen companies, and Google has done this more than once. I've seen companies do this many times where they get everybody super hyped and then they announce something that's just not that interesting. And everybody's like, what the hell is wrong with you? So
day one, we have a new logo on our home screen. Here you go. This is the good stuff. Look how good this looks. It's
right.
Like, oh my God, Google, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But Treviousness in the chat room is putting out a really great point. It's not just Google, it's platform developers are retweeting and talking about it. Like this is more than just Google tooting their own horn. It seems like everybody that's involved with Google, even CD Projekt Red, retweeting and talking about that. And one of the CD Projekt Red game testers, QA members saying, I just played Cyberpunk 2077 on my phone. I'm living in the future. It seems like every single person involved with something to do with Stadia, whether you're working for Google, whether you're a developer, whether you're working for a publisher, is talking about Stadia. Like this feels big to me, and I don't want to hype myself up too much so that I'm disappointed, but this feels different than other big, oh, we're gonna have an announcement on Tuesday, look, it's a new icon, this is awesome. It doesn't feel like that is going to be what this is, but I don't know, maybe we're all wrong.
Well, it's also like I feel like the leash has been taken off the people who've been working on Stadia behind the scenes. Like they have been very, very quiet. And in the last week, I've seen tweet after tweet after tweet. And when you mouse over people and it says like what they do. So like here's one from Justin Uberti. And he is an engineer who's working on Google Stadia. Like he says stuff, and he's not the only one that says this stuff. And Alucard just sent this to me, by the way, so thank you to that. I'd seen it before, but I forgot to add it to the show notes. But he said, I've been kind of quiet the past few months, and we've been cranking away on some killer new stuff for the end of 2020. We're now starting to announce what we've been up to, starting with Cyberpunk 2077 coming to Stadia on November 19th. Starting with, like, they've been on the leash basically, and I don't know if Phil Harrison has said, all right, you're off the leash, go forth and start hyping people up. Just only time is going to tell if this turns out to be awesome or a huge mistake. I hope that it's awesome, because I'm pretty excited. And as reserved as I usually am, like my hype levels keep increasing every time Google opens their mouth.
Yep. Yeah, I agree fully. Tuesday can't come soon enough. I'm actually contemplating taking that day off work so I can do some live streaming. I have to see if my schedule would allow for it, because I'm super, super hyped for this. And I know I'm setting myself up for some disappointment if I do that. But man, like Cyberpunk on day and date, like I had already convinced myself that would never happen, and I was fine with it. And now it's happening. So I'm now hyped about things that I wasn't hyped about before. And I hope Google just keeps this rolling with just a pile of amazing announcements.
All right. So let's move on from that. And God, I don't know that we can really spend time on this. But PS4 just shared their UI stuff, and it has a lot of cool stuff that that Google, like, they announced back at GDC 2018.
Yep.
Yeah, 2018, and we still don't have, or we kind of have. Like right
19?
now, if you and I are playing Division 2 together, we can see each other's screen like down in the corner. which is
Mhm.
very, very cool. But PlayStation is taking it one step beyond that. And like if I'm playing Division 2 and you're playing, I don't know, Destiny 2, they can like we can look at the corner and see what the other person is doing while we're talking. That is incredible.
Yeah,
And like that needs to happen.
they've had that before on PlayStation 4. You could
Really?
go into, yeah, you could stream a game to just your friends and they could take over control and they can help you with things. But it seems like this is now built into the UI a little better, so we could be in a group chat and I could start broadcasting I'm playing the new Uncharted game or the new Crash Bandicoot, or I'm playing the new Clank, and I could say I want to broadcast to this party. So then it broadcasts my gameplay to that party, to that chat party. You can't just look at your friends list and see what everybody is doing. It has to be something that is an action that you do. But this is what they did with PS4, but it's better now. So they're taking a feature and refining it, just like they've done with their like remote play stuff and a lot of the other stuff in it. So it's not new, but it is a new way of doing it. And the fact that built into the UI, since PlayStation 5 is expecting everybody to have a 4K set, by default, they're not making the user interface super big because they're assuming that everybody's on a 1080p. They're making it a little bit more elastic because they're assuming that a bulk of people are going to be on 4K. You can have your gameplay with another thing beside it. You can have either a video that you asked for help, or you could be watching someone stream right beside it. It's features that makes me sad that Stadia doesn't have their own OS, really. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's not a user interface that is the same from platform to PC to phone to whatever, because things like this that PlayStation is doing is just so amazing looking. Like I love this new interface for PlayStation 5, and I'd love to see a lot of this stuff come to Stadia. But the fact that there really is no user interface that or there's no OS running in the background. I mean, there is technically, but there's no like system OS like a console. It makes me think that a lot of this stuff just would never be able to be done, which is sad. I do hope some of these aspects of like the game share, the cards that pop up showing you achievements. I hope all the other console manufacturers, including Stadia, steal this, because it is such a great way to I don't know, introduce some sort of competition and getting rid of the I'm sitting in front of my console, I have a million games that are on the go, I don't know what to play. Okay, I'm just going to pull up my cards and see if I'm close to an achievement, jump into it, boom, I can go get that trophy in 15 minutes. I think that is a really great thing to add to a console. We'll see if maybe Stadia can add something like that in the future.
I do think that look, there's a lot of people who are going to have a PS5, right? And those people may or may not have good internet. So the actual experience of somebody loading up, like saying, hey, I'm going to stream me playing this while I'm in a party with somebody, that could actually be kind of a disaster, because like I'm going to look at Jimmy's got an upload speed of, you know, uh,
Yeah,
I don't know, 128 kilobits per second or something awful.
sure.
I'm going to see a pixelated slideshow from them, and they're not going to like, maybe they don't understand how this stuff works. They're going to look at it and they'll be like, I don't get it. Why does this look so awful? That could turn people away. Where when
Mhm.
Stadia does it, you don't have to worry about the upload. The upload
Yeah,
doesn't matter because the upload's coming from Google, and they've
yeah.
got the speed for that. So I think that everything that PlayStation showed off is cool, but I still think Google can do it better, because they're not depending on a box that's in somebody's house. They're not depending on somebody having a fast upload speed. They're
Yeah.
not depending on a lot of this stuff that I think that people take for granted. So I don't know. I think that the PS5 UI stuff is pretty damn cool.
Mhm.
Um, this just, you talking about the fact that Stadia needs to have its own like operating system, which it obviously does, but we don't really get to see that operating system. This
Yeah.
just is one more reason why the entire UI for Stadia needs to be streamed to us instead of being part of it streamed to us and part of it is like overlaid on top of it in our
Sure.
devices that we have access to, like the physical devices that we have. And I think that that would be better. And then we've said that a million times.
100%. And we know that new hardware is coming at some point in the future, which is going to be faster and better, which means that there's going to be a bunch of these old 1.0 blades that are just laying around in data centers. Maybe they can repurpose those blades to be the user interface display, which renders that. So your user interface, your OS is rendered on one machine, your gameplay is on another machine. That's kind of the benefit of being fully cloud focused, is they can do weird stuff like that shouldn't work if you had your house. If you had one set-top box do one thing and another set-top box do another thing, that wouldn't work in your house. But Google can pretty much do that if they want. And if they could have your user interface running on a system with things like this, with a better party system, with the ability to invite people. My God, inviting people to multiplayer is so frustrating on Stadia right now because it doesn't work half the time. You have to do it this way for some games and that way for some games. Having a unified interface would be fantastic. I just don't see that in the cards. To not to call out something that Sony is calling what these things are. They're calling them cards, but I don't think it's in the cards for the near future. But maybe down the road, maybe that is on the roadmap. Maybe that's on the whiteboard in Superhero John Justice's office that we just haven't been able to see yet.
It's possible. All right. So that's it for the news for today's episode. We're almost to an hour already, but we got a bunch of super chats that came in throughout the show. So I want to take a moment to thank people and respond to those. We call this section of the show Crowd Play, which is when we respond to all of the things that you guys wanted us to talk about. So real quick, I'm going to start with Stadia Goat sent in a super chat, and they said, "Do you think we'll see an Activision announcement?" What do you think, Lloyd? Activision?
I'm kind of blown away that there's no announcements from Activision. You'd think a big publisher like that would want all their games on all the like everywhere, right? But we don't really have any sort of huge announcements that next gen stuff. New stuff that is in development is coming. We really don't know that, which is surprising to me.
Well, we were talking about this in our Discord, and somebody mentioned that Sekiro, Shadows Die, Sekiro, I don't know how to say it. That game that's like a Dark Souls-like game is published by Activision, right?
I believe so. I do believe so.
Yeah, so there are now Activision games that have been confirmed for Stadia. We just don't know if, like, it's not games that have been developed by Activision. It's just games that have been published by Activision. But maybe that'll happen there, Stadia Goat. I don't have an answer for you. Tom O'Fallon sent in a super chat. Thank you very much for that. They said, "My pre-order says it is available at 3 a.m. I took 2 days off to work on the launch took 2 days off from work for the launch of Cyberpunk 2077. So Tom O'Fallon is going to be staying up really, really late or getting up very, very early in order to play Cyberpunk 2077. Is that what you're going to be doing, Lloyd? Are you going to be playing that the moment that it launches?
I'm going to say no now, but it's probably going to happen because that's the way I roll. And especially if you don't have to download things or download patches, you just click play and you're in there playing it. So yeah, I'm probably going to be doing that as well.
Yeah, not me. I'm an old man, and I don't stay up super late. Early to bed, early to rise. I usually get up pretty early, so I will not be doing that. And I was never in a rush to play Cyberpunk anyway. I was always going to play it on Stadia because I was going to be like, whatever. I'll play it when I get around to it. It doesn't matter to me too much. So I'm not going to be one of those people that has to take time off of work so that I can't take time off of work anyway for it. But yeah. I'm not going to be one of those people that does that. But Tom O'Fallon, more power to you. We got super chats that came in without comments from Sukotronic and Mark Woodhall. So thank you very much for that, as well as one from Dre Kickens. They said just some support. So thank you very much for that. And then we got one from Shrewy that says, "I thank you for consistently great and balanced content." So they don't have any topics for us to talk about with those super chats, but they just want to support the show, and we really do appreciate that. We got one more that came in from Consino. He sent in a super chat and he said, actually, he sent in one at the beginning too. He said, "It's clear just how important day and date big releases are to Stadia. No downloads, no waiting, immediately streaming to YouTube before everyone else. I recognize that I am one." This is me now, not Consino. I recognize that I am an outlier and that I don't care about that nearly as much as everybody else does. But I will agree, when the game does not launch on your platform of choice and it also launches on other platforms, it can be disheartening. And I know that
100%.
you pre-ordered Avengers on
Hmm.
PlayStation because you
Hmm.
didn't know if it was
Hmm.
coming to Stadia on the same day.
Yep.
Did you do the same thing with Cyberpunk?
No, my pre-order for Cyberpunk was almost full price, so I canceled that a long time ago.
Ah, okay.
I keep these uh, games are so expensive up here in Canada. $80 Canadian is the standard price, but around E3, a lot of our sellers, like Best Buy or Amazon, they'll have pre-orders for E3 announced games. So I'll pre-order a bunch of the games, even though I might not want them, just because I might want it for the $40 or $50 that it's going to be. So I had Marvel's Avengers for $40 and I ended up canceling that and buying the $100 version on Stadia because I wanted to play it 3 days early. So I spent $60 more to play it on Stadia, which is crazy. I understand, but that's my brain for you. So for Cyberpunk, I canceled my pre-order a long time ago, and I'm looking forward to playing it on Stadia on launch day.
Um, are are you concerned? Like here's what I envision possibly happening with Cyberpunk, because this is a game that's been in development for I don't know, like a really long time, right?
Yeah, five
Um,
years or something.
yeah, and Stadia is brand new, and they use Vulkan, which I don't know if they're using Vulkan for their other stuff, but it's possible that the version of Cyberpunk 2077 is not going to run as well on Stadia just because the developers don't have as much experience with it. And this is just speculation on my part. I have no idea what's going to happen with it. But I worry. I don't worry. I expect that if that happens, there's probably going to be a bunch of backlash. A bunch of people hating on Stadia again, saying, "Oh, look at this. Stadia is terrible, blah blah, because it doesn't have this many maps or that kind of specularity or whatever the thing is that people care about at the time." Because I don't care about that stuff, but a lot of people do.
Right.
Um,
Right.
do you think that that's? What do you think, Lloyd? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, the difficulty in getting a game running on a new platform is your game engine supporting that new platform.
Yeah.
It's not so much the game itself; it's more the engine, because the engine does. If you're developing an engine, but from scratch, you're doing a lot of workarounds to get things working on PC, and then it's like, okay, I got to go from DirectX to Vulkan on PC. Okay, I got to change all this stuff around. Okay, now I want to move it to Mac. Okay, I got to change all this stuff around. I want to get it on PlayStation. Blah 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 blah. So I'm hopeful that they've had access to Stadia for well more, a lot longer than Stadia has been an actual product that we could actually buy. So they've had their engine running in some form on Stadia for over a year now, let's say. So all the stuff that is done from from when the game is essentially feature complete and then gold, that's just a lot of cleaning things up, making sure your textures are working, making sure that the pipelines are working properly to load that data in the best possible way, so you don't get a lot of pop in or low res textures that then appear high res, because that stuff is really annoying. So they've probably had the full game running on Stadia for a year, and they've just been using this last kind of run up to gold to make sure that it is running in the same way as all the other versions. But they have PlayStation 4 versions, PlayStation 5 versions, Xbox One versions, Xbox Series versions, they have PC versions, they now have a Stadia version. So it's not a small amount of effort to get it working. But I'm hopeful that the engine, the core of the gameplay is going to work on Stadia. There just might be some graphic issues, like when Marvel's Avengers launched. There was this weird thing: if you're in performance mode, you're in the resolution mode, you want higher graphics than frame rate. It would basically stutter. Like your game would pause every few seconds in certain parts of the game. They issued a patch and that was corrected. So I'm hopeful that this will happen.
All right, cool, very cool. Well, I, for one, excuse me, I'm very excited for what's going to happen next week. Just a reminder to everybody, I will be streaming at 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern on Tuesday. I'm just gonna sit here and chat, and maybe Lloyd, you'll be able to join me. Maybe he won't. Who knows?
Maybe.
He's got stuff to do. But I'm gonna be live right here at youtube.com/StadiaCast. So come on by and we can talk about everything that is happening together in the world of Stadia, because it's pretty exciting right now. Kumna is asking in chat, no 72-hour live stream? No 72-hour live stream. I'm an old man and I got a job, so I can't do that. As it is, I might not be doing an episode of Nintendo Switchcraft because of this, because I want to be able to cover this stuff because it's so exciting. Anyway, I think that's it for this episode, man. I think that good episode. It was awesome.
A lot of stuff to cover. Hopefully we didn't cover it in such a way that it was confusing to anybody. It's when you get kind of the overload, sometimes it's hard to be concise with your thoughts, but I think we handled it okay, Bill.
I think so too. So just so everybody knows, follow the show on Twitter at StadiaCast. You can follow me at Run Jump Stomp. You can follow Lloyd at Dasme. That's DASME. There are links down below that will take you, if you're watching this on YouTube, to our community Discord, or you can just go to runjumpstomp.com to find that. If you want to join Lloyd's community Discord, you can head on over to res.tv/Discord. I'm out of here. Lloyd, it was awesome talking to you on Sunday. It always is.
Same here, Bill.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Take it easy, everybody.
There we go. We did it.
Awesome.
And I'll go ahead and put in a stream marker there. And save. Save project as StadiaCast 80.
Yeah, man. Next week's show is going to be potentially a long one. We might have to go 2 hours to cover all the news, or 2 minutes, depending on what Stadia does, right? Like there's no yardstick that we can measure this event against, like, because this is all new ground for us. So, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. God, I'm so worried that they're going to drop the ball on this.
Well, I'm like I said, here's a new icon. I'm worried that is what one of the announcements is going to be. It's like, we changed the way that the interface looks. It's no longer a gray bar on top. It's now teal. There you go. Yay, Stadia.
Right.
Like something small like that.
Yeah. And it's not because I think that Google is particularly bad at this, but it's just that I've seen companies do this so many times, especially covering Nintendo. Like, yeah, they had remember they had that stupid that thing, that Nintendo Direct or whatever, and then at the end they were like, oh, and stay tuned afterwards, and then it was like some weird Bakugan game that nobody really cared about.
We have an exclusive announcement of a new game that has never been shown before, and then they clarified, no, this isn't a first party game. this is something completely different. And then it was the Bakugan thing, which to me wasn't exciting, but I'm sure there's a lot of kids out there that play Bakugan that loved it. But yeah, that just shows how you can quickly shoot yourself in the foot when you're doing PR like that.
Yeah. So Google, I hope you're not mismanaging expectations, but I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I posted my video that day, and I was super tongue-in-cheek, being like, don't expect anything. Calm down, people. Relax. But since that day, my hype levels, especially talking to you, have consistently increased, because like every once in a while he'll send me a message on Discord. He'll be like, typing something. I'm like, Don't get me hyped for this because I don't want to be disappointed.
Shut up. Yeah, like I was managing expectations when this was first announced, but then we found out the Cyberpunk thing, then we found out the Ubisoft thing, and then you have all these other developers coming out and saying, yeah, it's going to be a good event, can't wait, here's a retweet. There has to be something. It has to be more than just a small UI change, or here's a new indie game, like 8-bit pixel art platformer that one of our developers used his hack time to create and release on Stadia. It has to be something bigger than that. But how big it's going to be, I mean, we'll have to find out, I guess.
So I want to ask chat, what do you guys think it's going to be? Sir Taco Bell says something really good. He says, you can't blame us for getting hyped. Stadia is hyping us big time. I agree. Yep. Jem is saying a 3-day event for Crash 4 on Stadia.
Hey Jem, I played Crash with the wife on Xbox. She loves it. I love it. It's a good game, but we've only played, like, we're at the first boss battle, so we haven't played that much of Crash 4.
Is it split screen?
I don't think so. We're just playing, like, we hand the controller back and forth like we did back in the day when that was one of the games that we used to play all the time when we were still dating, was Crash Bandicoots and things like that. So it was a nice return to the past.
Clive Illenden said games, and more games. By the way, if you guys don't already follow Clive, he is also a Stadia content creator, so make sure that you check out his stuff.
Definitely.
Root Verani says Activision and Call of Duty. Stupid Rabbit says, I'm hoping for a Cyberpunk demo. I doubt it, but one can dream. I don't know. Like, I read something about, like, Microsoft has the marketing rights or something to Cyberpunk, and I don't really know what that means. I don't follow it that closely because that's weird stuff. But I don't know. Like,
yeah.
Do you think we'll get our first party game?
Maybe they're going to show what Stadia Games and Entertainment is working on. Like, maybe that is a thing. Like, man, I really don't know. And maybe they were just treating this first year as kind of a soft open beta, and now they're like, okay, now we're serious. It's year 2, Stadia year 2. Let's get into it. And if that's the case, it could be anything. Worm game, I'm happy. Yeah, maybe we'll get a release of the Worm game so we can test that out as well.
I remember, like, that's how Nintendo Switch launched. I mean, yeah, they launched with Breath of the Wild, but they had what I would essentially call it a soft launch, where there was nothing to play for months except for Breath of the Wild. It's a good thing that Breath of the Wild was so damn good.
And Bomberman.
Right, and Super Bomberman R. We just got a couple of super chats that came in. Thank you guys for the super chats. Jem says, Lloyd approves of Crash Bandicoot 4. And I don't know what that emote is, but I think that's him getting excited. And Roosevelt Phillips sent in a weird dancing pear. Again, I don't know what the dancing pear is all about, but I do love those things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you guys for that. Roger says, Family Feud on November 12th. I saw on Cloudy with a Chance of Games, they were talking about, I guess Family Feud has a live streaming feature, and I didn't have room to put it in the show notes, even though it's interesting. My guess, I mean, it's cool that they say that they have that, but that doesn't mean necessarily that we'll have access to it at launch, right?
The press release was worded in such a way that it sounded like it was going to be at launch. And what that mode is basically you can broadcast something that is different than what's on your screen. So I don't see any other way to do that than to have built-in streaming. So doing like the Stream Connect thing, and streaming that out, and then having a different interface on your screen. So I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I want to learn more about that for sure.
That sounds really interesting. So we were in the car yesterday and we were waiting someplace, and so we all pulled out our phones, and because my kids they're playing Among Us all the time, And so we all pulled out our
Right.
phones, and I installed Among Us, and we played a match, and I was like, okay, it's kind of cool, it's interesting.
Mhm.
But then I was thinking, like, I know that this is like the most streamed game or whatever right now. Like, it is,
Yep.
like, everybody's playing this game. And I thought to myself, how the hell does this work if I wanted to do like a community day where we were playing Among Us? Everybody would, and if I were the killer, everybody would know I'm the killer because they can see what I'm up to in the game. So how the hell does that work? But then you just mentioned that in Family Feud, you said that it was worded so that the viewers would see a different thing than I would see.
Yeah, I mean that's what it sounds like, because if you're doing something in Family Feud and you're writing down your answer or something, you don't want that to be on screen,
Right.
because people you're playing against will see it, right? And you wouldn't really be writing down your answer, but I guess you'd be choosing from a menu, or maybe you would be typing it in. I don't know. I've seen like other games like that have had modes for that, like you when you're playing Madden, say, with someone couch co-op, you don't have your moves show up on the screen. You just have a list of all the moves and then a button combination, and you silently hit that button combination. This would be a way to do that, but with a separate stream. So you would stream everything but the UI that is showing what you're choosing, so that no one knows what you're choosing. Maybe I don't know. I'm interested to find out more about that as well. Like, what if one of the days is saying, this is how free to play is going to work on Stadia, and here's Fortnite, and here's Call of Duty, and here's, I don't know, Rocket League. Like, it could be so many things, man. The thing is, like, there's no guidelines to what good stuff is going to be, so your mind can go pretty much anywhere. I'd be really interested to see how free to play stuff is going to work, but I don't think it's going to be at that event. But it could just, there's so many things it could be, and that's what is so exciting about this. And I know that we're continuing to hype it up, but you kind of have to.
It's not my fault.
It's what, if it was just Google talking about it, it would be one level of hype. But you have all these other developers coming out and saying, "Yep, get ready for good stuff." It makes me even more excited for that.
All right, real quick, everybody in chat, I want you to rate Lloyd's level of hype out of 10. How high is his level of hype? And
on
then
a scale of 1 to hype, how hyped am I?
And then rate my level of hype. What do you guys think? I want to hear what people think. I think I'm probably just as hyped as you, but I'm trying not to show it. Kumna says 11. Alucard says 130. Oh my goodness. All right. Bill Potato. Oh, that's you. I read that one instantly because the name was blue.
There you go. 11 out of 10 for Lloyd, 9 out of 10 for Bill. That's pretty close.
Yeah, I think so. Man, do not disappoint us, Google. All right.
And yeah, it's Ruben. That's exactly it. Bill was less hyped, and then the more I talk, the more excited. You could hear it in his voice. His voice is getting more excited. It's like I did my CD Projekt Red Cyberpunk release video, and I was pretty excited, and I got a PM from someone that works at Google saying, "Wow, the excitement level in that video was pretty palpable." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm really excited about this. Sorry, I'm not gonna contain my hype when I'm hyped, and I'm really hyped for this." So yeah, I'm very excited because I do love Stadia, even though people say that I'm getting paid by Microsoft to be a Microsoft shill. I do love Stadia, so yeah, take with that what you may, I guess. Or take from that what
so
you may.
Get your screenshots ready, people. All right, this was me at the beginning of the stream, my hype level at the beginning of the stream. Are you ready? Here we go. All right, and then this is me now at the end of the stream after talking to Lloyd. All right, so I'm sure that somebody every once in a while, somebody they go through and they make a new thumbnail for us based on, you know, the YouTube algorithmic highest quality thumbnails that get people to click on them, and we always laugh about them. They post them in our Discord, so I'm sure that somebody is going to be using that.
I don't know.
Fun.
people have been loving my the thumbnail I did for the Cyberpunk thing. I've probably got about 30 messages from other people, email, DMs, and Discord stuff. People like that. They saw my hype level there,
Yeah.
and I wasn't just being a jerk. That was really what I wanted to do, and then I did it, and I'm like, this looks stupid. Do it anyway. Let's do it anyway.
Yeah, same thing with the one that I did where I was like pointing at the new stuff or whatever for the upcoming one. I personally look at that and think, really, it's kind of lame, but I think that people like the lame a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, people like cringe. Cringe is popular online.
I guess so.
Which is surprising why the old Stadia ads didn't do so well, because they were very cringy.
They were absolutely cringy. We got more super chats just came in from Michael Mooney and Ted A. Ted A has a couple of hippopotami. Is that the plural for hippopotamus?
Is it hippopodes? I don't know.
I don't know either. Doing some that looks like they're popping up out of the water. So thank you for the support. And then Michael Mooney sent in one and he said 9x. I'm assuming he was talking about your hype level. You're at 9x. I don't know what X is, but multiply it by 9.
So more than one hippopotamus are called hippopotami and hippopotamuses, which is just like that Christmas song.
That's my wife's favorite Christmas song.
I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. That is actually real. I thought it was just a kid being a kid, but no. But it can also be hippos. That can also be used.
Well, just so you know, that song, that Hippopotamus for Christmas song, was made to try and make money for some hippopotamus that was in a zoo someplace or something like that. My wife told me the story,
really?
So I only have.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm sure that she could tell us more information about it, but I don't remember everything because goldfish memory.
Yeah, I love that song as well.
All right,
now I know that I'm not speaking bad English when I say I want some hippopotamuses.
All right. Anything else to add before we get out of here, man?
I don't think so. This is a great show. Everybody in the community, you're awesome for coming here, joking with us, chatting with us. This community is awesome.
It absolutely is. And we just got another super chat in from Stephen Lawrence. They said, I'm excited for EA games coming in the winter, Madden, FIFA. Do you think it's possible that we get Madden as a demo?
Possibly. Yeah, possibly.
Or FIFA. That would be pretty huge. I mean, I don't care about that, but a lot that would be huge for a lot of people.
Yeah, FIFA is one of the biggest games in the world. At least for like microtransactions, people go crazy with the FIFA League stuff, whatever it's called. I can't remember. It's HUT for hockey. I can't remember what it's called for other things. But yeah, that would be huge. Madden would be huge if that just got like here's a demo and it's coming next week or whatever the announcement would be. I'd love to see NHL on Stadia as well, because I don't really want to buy it on any other platform right now. But if it came on Stadia, I would definitely do it. Oh yeah, it's FUT, FUT for the Ultimate Team, football Ultimate Team.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't touched my PS4 in a long time. I'm thinking about selling it.
My son uses it all the time, or did. I moved my Xbox One S there. So now he's been playing Xbox constantly because now he has access to Game Pass. So he hasn't touched his PS4 either, or my PS4 either. So yeah, it's not something that's been played very often in my house, but Xbox is being played more. So keep those money hats coming, Microsoft.
Paul Alexis G says, are we going to get another video with John Justice? Your guess is as good as mine. We were in the middle of trying to set up an interview with them when the pandemic hit, and his scheduler basically said, I'm sorry, we can't do this right now, we've got too much going on. And I haven't heard back. So I'm sure that when they actually have time to sit down and talk to us, that they'll give us time. But if you're listening, Google, or if you're watching right now, we would love to talk to you again, John. And I would also love to talk to a lot of people that work at Oh, I forgot
Any developer.
Yeah, any of the developers. We'd love to talk to Jade Raymond. That guy whose last name is Bakar. I can't remember his name. That woman who has 3 names. She's really cool, but I can't remember her name off the top of my head. But I would love to talk to. What's that?
Does she have to steal all the names? Like, leave some names for other people. Come on.
Oh my God! Another super chat just came in. Roosevelt Phillips said, "Oh, you guys are killing me. This is amazing. What do you think? If you could have something happen on Tuesday, what would you have happen? What would you love to see most of all?"
I have an answer for that. I'd love to see Star Wars Squadrons hit Stadia from EA Motive, because I really want to play that game, but I haven't picked it up yet because I'm not sure which platform I want to play it on. I would love to play Star Wars Squadrons on Stadia. I want to play it on VR as well, but I'm going to wait until I get a different VR helmet to pick that up on whatever platform that is. But I'd love to jump right in and do some X-Wing versus TIE Fighter dogfights on Stadia. It would be fantastic.
It's funny. It's like you just made me think of a very interesting topic that I might turn into a video at some point. Sure. But like right now, because we're like with the traditional consoles, right now, I am very hesitant to buy anything for a PS4. I don't have an Xbox, right? I have a PS4 Pro, and I am extremely hesitant to buy anything for that because I know that the next thing is coming soon. And so I've kind of looked at this and I said, forget that. I'm done with it. Do you know what I mean, Lloyd? Yeah.
And with how Sony in the past has treated backwards compatibility for from last gen, we had no idea what back compat was going to look like. They came out with a blog post saying, yeah, we've tested the top 100 games. And it's like, okay, is that it? Turns out that pretty much any PlayStation 4 game, except for like 20 or something or 10, aren't going to be supported. But then you have Xbox on the other hand, where you can put in an Xbox, like original Xbox like game disc, and you can actually play that on the Series X, which is ridiculous. So you like, I think Xbox is now the original Stadia, where your games will persist across generations because you can play them just in the cloud. I'm actually more excited now about buying a bunch of old games that I loved on Xbox because I can play them on the Series X when I finally get my Series X.
So, that leads to the point that I was making, is that you don't have that cross-generational, I don't want to say problem, but you don't have that cross-generational divide when it comes to Google Stadia, because there is no next gen. Somebody tweeted this at me. They called it forever gen. And like, I love that idea because like right now, like they could have a fantastic game come out on the PS4. I'm not going to buy it because I know that the PS5 is coming. And there's a part of my brain that says, no. And even though I'm not buying a PS5, well, maybe I will eventually, but I'm not buying one right away. I'm not buying either of the new consoles right away.
Right.
Because I'm going to be focusing on Stadia. But it's just something that I was thinking about, that there is no cross generation, and I think that's very interesting.
It is really interesting. Kumna in the chat room says FIFA 21 on PlayStation 4 can't play with FIFA 21 on PlayStation 5, and yeah, those little issues you don't have that on Stadia. Like, why make things complicated and difficult? And I think Xbox, Xbox did it the right way. They came out of the gate and said that any game that has an Xbox One and an Xbox Series version, it's going to be a free upgrade to the Series X version. You're not going to be paying $10 for that upgrade, where initially Sony was saying, yep, developers can charge for it. Sony or Microsoft made that announcement, and then all these developers are starting backing up from that, charging the $10 cross-platform upgrade thing, which happened from PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4. I bought what was it? I think Watch Dogs, or one other game where I had to pay $10 to play it on PlayStation 4 because it came out right when PlayStation 3 was near the end of the life, or maybe it was Call of Duty Ghosts or something like that. And I'm just like, this is so dumb. Like, either the game is supported on the new platform or it isn't. Charging people $10 for that upgrade just seems ridiculous to me.
We're looking at you, Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So yeah, I don't know, man. I'm super excited about Stadia. I'm like super excited about the next gen of games. What that's going to bring to us. I really hope that Google shows off some brain melting demo of something that could only ever be done on Stadia, like you said, Bill, because that is where you're going to get the hype from people that are already hyped for the next gen. Is show them something that can't even be done on the next gen because of some elastic computing or having a separate box just do AI through elastic computing and have like a full city simulated with everybody doing their own thing, like some crazy demo. That would be amazing. I don't think we're going to get that, but something like that would just really show off the power of Stadia being its own thing, not a cloud streaming service. It is a cloud platform where every other cloud service out there is a cloud streaming service. It's running games either on an Xbox or a PC, streaming them to your computer, where Stadia is its own complete platform from start to finish, and that's where you're going to get some of the magic that can only be done in the cloud, and it will only ever be done on Stadia because they run everything. They create the hardware, they create the software. It's going to be pretty amazing to see some of this stuff come out in the future.
Well, everybody, I'm out of here. Lloyd, you said that you had things to do, so you can't do a stream after the stream today either, right?
Correct. I have to run out right away.
All right, so I'm out of here as well. I will see you guys on Tuesday, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, for our open mic where we are talking about all of the good stuff that was announced, and possibly Lloyd will be there if he can. We all understand if you can't, though, man. But we'll see you guys on Tuesday. Stay awesome, everybody.
Awesome. Take it easy, everybody.